We're going to start off with Recast. I believe you guys read an article about this last week, so hopefully this will be a little bit of a review and maybe will help fill in some of the blanks if you had any questions after reading that article. So recasting is when you're going to be taking the child's utterance and turning it into a different kind of sentence. Okay, so in this example, you're not going to explicitly correct the child. It's going to be natural, positive, low pressure, and it'll keep the conversation going without added stress to you or the child. What it's going to do is provide a more accurate and descriptive example of language in general. It's going to provide the child an opportunity to hear different ways of how to use the language system, and it's going to introduce new grammatical structures. When to use this strategy is if a child says something incorrect, it's a really easy way to slip in this strategy. Or if you notice that your child isn't using a wide variety of sentences, if they're mostly just commenting on things like, this is a baby, or I like this, and they're not using a lot of questions or negations, if they have only simple sentences and not complex sentences, this is a really great strategy to kind of introduce different kinds of grammar to a child. So how to use this is you're going to take the child's initial utterance and turn it into a different type of sentence, okay? So if it was a question, you're going to make it into a statement or a negation. What I mean by that is a statement is just like stating like, I like this. A question is, do you like this? And a negation is, I don't like this, okay? So a negation is just adding the negative aspect to it. So if they make a simple utterance, it's going to say, I like to run. A complex utterance would be, I like to run when it's raining or when it's sunny. And so it's kind of similar to the expansion and extension aspect of it, but we're focusing on changing the complexity of it. And then the last example of if it was a statement, turn it into a question or a negation. And when you're doing this, don't ever make the child feel judged. Don't make them rephrase their statement into whatever you said. So if they did say, I like to run, don't say, do you like to run? Say, do I like to run? Because the child's going to just be really confused and feel like they did something wrong, and they didn't. Usually with these, it's going to be they said something perfectly fine. It's just they're not showing a wide variety of sentences, and we want to be able to provide them with the tools to hear, understand, and then later produce these kinds of sentences. Here are a couple more examples. So if a child says, me turn, you're going to say, is it your turn? Or it's not your turn. So this is a really good example of using this strategy if the child says something wrong. So I don't mean that in like they're saying something wrong grammatically. I'm saying they're saying a wrong fact. So if they're saying, it's my turn, but it's really their friend's turn, then this is a really good way to be so first of all, correct them and say, it's not your turn, it's somebody else's turn. But also, it shows them how to fix their grammar. So they said me turn instead of my turn. But also, it's turning it into a different kind of sentence. So in the first one, it's a statement of my turn, and then the adult is turning it into a question or a negation. In the second example here, we have the child saying, I like the red car. So in this example, they had nothing wrong with their sentence. And the adult is going to rephrase it into, yeah, you don't like the blue car. So they're agreeing with the child. The child said nothing wrong, but they're introducing the negation aspect. So saying like, you don't like the blue car is showing a good example of how to express a dislike for something. A lot of preschoolers don't have this negation piece yet, so you might hear like, I know like the blue car, I know like it. And so by providing that context of I don't like it, they're going to be absorbing that information and they'll be able to use it in the future. And it's good to use it in contrast to their correct sentence of something they do like. So it's giving them a very clear, concrete example of something they do like, something they don't like right in front of them, and providing the don't instead of like, I know, like. So that is recasting. I like that strategy. It's one that you don't typically use as often just because I feel like there are ones that are stronger for eliciting language in general. But that strategy is very good if you notice that a child is consistently not using correct negations or question grammar. So if they're saying like, um, instead of saying like, where is the toy, if they're saying like, the toy, where is it, or something like that, it's a really great way to just introduce how to use different types of sentences and provide examples for them. So it's not going to be something that you're constantly doing all the time, but it is something that you can slide in every once in a while, or if you do notice that one child in particular is having trouble using a variety of sentences.